In this country, the wrong t-shirt could literally get you stripped in public. They grow a pepper so hot it makes jalapenos look like candy. Trinidad and Tobago is bursting with wild secrets, strange laws, powerful cartels, and pure Caribbean flair. This isn't the tourist-friendly Caribbean you see on postcards. Get ready, these 15 insane facts will blow your mind. Wearing camouflage is illegal. Wearing camouflage in Trinidad and Tobago isn't just frowned upon. It's literally illegal unless you're part of the military. The government enforces a strict regulation that bans civilians from wearing any clothing with camouflage print, no matter the color or style. Even a stylish camo baseball cap or a pair of shorts can get you in trouble. This law is rooted in public safety concerns, as camouflage is exclusively reserved for the country's defense force to prevent impersonation and confusion. If you're caught violating this law, the police can demand that you remove the clothing item immediately, sometimes on the spot. Yes, that could mean getting partially undressed in public. And no, they don't care if you're a tourist. The idea is to preserve the authority and recognizability of the armed forces, especially in a region that struggles with organized crime. Many unsuspecting travelers have been stopped at airports or even denied entry for wearing camo print fashion. So if you're planning a tropical getaway, leave your camo gear at home, unless you want to go viral for all the wrong reasons. In Trinidad and Tobago, blending in with the military is not just a fashion faux pas, it's a legal offense. Some of the world's best cocoa comes from Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is home to one of the finest cocoa varieties in the world, the legendary Trinitario. This rare hybrid is a cross between the delicate Criollo and the robust Forastero, creating a bean that's both flavorful and disease-resistant. Although the country contributes only about 5% to global cocoa production, its beans are considered elite by chocolate connoisseurs. Luxury chocolate makers often source their beans directly from Trinidadian plantations for their deep, complex flavor notes. A single artisanal chocolate bar made with Trinitario cocoa can cost up to $30, and some exclusive products are sold at high-end stores like Harrods. The country's cocoa industry is small but highly respected, with farmers focusing on quality over quantity. Trinidad was also a pioneer in cocoa research, with its breeders developing the Trinitario variety as early as the 18th century. The beans are fermented and sun-dried using traditional methods, preserving the rich heritage behind each bite. Chocolate tourism is slowly rising, with plantations offering immersive tours and tastings for curious travelers. So while Switzerland and Belgium get all the fame, Trinidad quietly produces the kind of cocoa that makes the world's best chocolate melt in your mouth unforgettable. The culture is a fusion of many influences. Trinidad and Tobago is one of the most culturally diverse countries in the Western Hemisphere, shaped by centuries of migration and colonization. The islands were colonized at various points by the Spanish, French, Dutch, and British, each leaving behind architecture, language, religion, and food traditions. African heritage runs deep due to the transatlantic slave trade, which brought thousands of West Africans to the islands. Their descendants helped shape music, dance, and spiritual practices. After slavery was abolished, the British brought in indentured laborers from India, whose influence is still visible in local cuisine, festivals, and religious celebrations like Diwali. There's also a notable Lebanese, Syrian, Chinese, and Venezuelan presence, creating a dynamic cultural tapestry unlike anywhere else in the Caribbean. English is the official language, yet many places carry Spanish or French names, and Creole dialects are commonly spoken in informal settings. The local music scene is a direct reflection of this mix, from calypso and soca to chutney, a genre born from Indian-Caribbean fusion. Religious diversity is equally rich, with Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, and traditional African faiths coexisting peacefully. Even Trinidad's architecture tells a story. Colonial mansions, Hindu temples, and mosques often sit side by side in the same neighborhood. Simply put, Trinidad and Tobago isn't just a melting pot. It's a vibrant, living mosaic of global history in island form. Homosexuality is no longer criminalized. Until recently, same-sex relationships were criminalized in Trinidad and Tobago, with laws dating back to colonial times punishing them with up to 5 years in prison. But in 2018, a landmark ruling by the High Court declared these laws unconstitutional, effectively decriminalizing homosexuality. This was a major victory for the LGBTQ+ community, not only in Trinidad but across the Caribbean, where such rights are still hotly debated. However, same-sex marriage is still not legal, and social acceptance remains mixed, especially given that over 50% of the population identifies as Christian. Public displays of affection between same-sex couples are rare, and societal attitudes can be conservative, particularly in rural areas. That said, activism is growing, and pride events are starting to gain visibility, especially in urban centers like Port of Spain. Trinidad and Tobago now stands out as one of the more progressive islands in the region when it comes to LGBTQ+ rights. The legal shift marks a powerful step forward, even if full equality is still a work in progress. The richest person in the country was a woman. Trinidad and Tobago's business history was shaped in large part by Helen Bhagwansingh, a legendary entrepreneur who passed away in 2023. She was one of the country's most influential and wealthiest women, best known for transforming her family's small hardware store into a nationwide industrial powerhouse. Starting in the 1960s, she expanded into cement, steel, lumber, and construction materials, becoming a dominant figure in Trinidad's building sector. Her company, Bhagwansingh's Hardware, became a household name, serving as both a commercial giant and a source of national pride. Unlike many Caribbean tycoons, she built her empire from the ground up, making her a powerful symbol of ambition and self-made success. She was also deeply philanthropic, contributing generously to education, healthcare, and disaster relief initiatives across the islands. Her legacy still lives on today as her businesses continue to operate and provide employment for thousands. Helen Bhagwansingh wasn't just a businesswoman. She was a trailblazer in a male-dominated industry and a respected national figure. Though she is no longer with us, her impact on Trinidad and Tobago's economic landscape is lasting and profound. In a society shaped by tradition, Helen Bhagwansingh redefined what it means to be a self-made success. Drug cartels have significant influence. Behind Trinidad and Tobago's vibrant culture lies a darker, less visible economy, and much of it is controlled by Syrian and Lebanese drug cartels. These networks have existed for decades and are deeply entrenched in both local and international smuggling operations. It's estimated that around 20% of the country's underground economy is tied to the drug trade, a staggering figure for such a small nation. The cartels are well organized and often interconnected with political and financial elites, allowing them to influence decisions in sectors like real estate, healthcare, and even banking. They're not the only ones. Indo-Trinidadian criminal groups also operate at a high level, often competing for control over distribution routes and black market profits. This shadow economy distorts fair competition, drives up corruption, and limits the government's ability to enforce transparent policy. Unlike some other countries in the region, the cartels here don't just use violence. They use business tactics, often investing in legitimate enterprises to launder money. As a result, some areas of the country are heavily surveilled by both local authorities and international agencies. The government has made repeated efforts to crack down, but the influence of these networks remains stubbornly resilient. It's a stark reminder that beneath the tropical paradise, organized crime continues to quietly shape national life. Jack Warner has been accused of corruption multiple times. Jack Warner is one of Trinidad and Tobago's most controversial public figures. A man who rose to global fame through football and fell under the weight of corruption scandals. He served as a FIFA vice president and a longtime member of the FIFA executive committee, gaining immense influence over international football affairs. But with power came allegations. Warner has faced over 10 major accusations ranging from bribery and money laundering to racketeering. He was a central figure in the infamous FIFA corruption scandal tied to the bidding process for the 2022 World Cup, which awarded hosting rights to Qatar. The United States government issued an extradition request in 2015, but Warner has so far refused to surrender. Despite the mounting evidence, he continues to proclaim his innocence and has even remained involved in local politics. His personal wealth, reportedly over $160 million, has only fueled public suspicion. Many believe he used his role at FIFA to secure backdoor deals, favors, and lucrative kickbacks. He's also been accused of diverting aid money intended for Haiti after the 2010 earthquake, a charge he denies. Jack Warner's legacy is a blend of ambition, power, and scandal, a symbol of how deeply corruption can run in global sports. Their only female gymnast at the 2016 Olympics is highly disliked. In 2016, Trinidad and Tobago made history by sending their first female gymnast to the Olympic Games. But instead of national pride, the move stirred massive controversy. The athlete, Marissa Dick, was born and raised in Canada, though eligible to compete for Trinidad through her father's heritage. Her selection over a locally born gymnast sparked accusations of favoritism and unfair politics within the National Gymnastics Federation. Many Trinidadians felt that her inclusion came at the expense of a more deserving, homegrown athlete who had worked within the national system for years. The issue escalated when it was revealed that Dick had qualified after her rival was withdrawn under questionable circumstances. Though she had followed the rules and earned her spot technically, the public backlash was intense. She was even labeled a fraud by some critics online. To make things worse, she didn't win any medals at the Games, which only fueled the narrative that her participation was undeserved. Her story reveals deeper tensions around national identity, diaspora representation, and fairness in sports. It also exposed the lack of transparency in Trinidad's sports administration and highlighted how divided public opinion can become around international competition. Marissa Dick became a symbol, not of athletic triumph, but of how politics can overshadow performance. Natural bioluminescent pools glow in the dark. Trinidad and Tobago is home to one of nature's most magical spectacles, bioluminescent waters that glow in the dark. This phenomenon occurs in places like Bonaccord Lagoon and Ortoir River, where microscopic organisms called dinoflagellates emit light when disturbed. At night, every splash or movement causes the water to shimmer with an eerie blue-green glow, like something straight out of a fantasy film. It's completely natural and harmless, and it's caused by the plankton's defense mechanism against predators. These glowing pools are extremely rare, and only a handful of locations in the world offer such an experience, making Trinidad and Tobago one of the few privileged places. Visitors can kayak or take small boat tours through the glowing waters, especially during new moon phases when the darkness enhances visibility. Unlike other parts of the Caribbean, this bioluminescent feature is still relatively under the radar, so you can enjoy it without the crowds. Photographing it can be tricky. It's one of those moments that's better experienced than documented. Locals have long known about this glowing phenomenon, but in recent years it started gaining global attention from eco-tourists and nature lovers. If you're looking for a surreal and unforgettable natural wonder, these glow-in-the-dark waters are a must-see. The Magnificent Seven mansions are iconic landmarks. In the capital city of Port of Spain, there's a stunning row of colonial-era mansions known as the Magnificent Seven, and they're exactly as grand as the name suggests. Built between 1900 and 1910, these historic homes sit along the edge of Queen's Park Savannah, the city's largest green space. Each house showcases a different architectural style, blending French, Indian, Scottish baronial, and Caribbean influences, reflecting Trinidad's diverse colonial history. They were originally private residences for the elite, wealthy businessmen, politicians, and European settlers. Today, most of them are government-owned and have been repurposed into institutions, including a bishop's palace, schools, and state offices. 6 of the 7 were purchased by the state for over $1 million each, a testament to their cultural value. One of the most iconic is Queen's Royal College, with its dramatic German Renaissance design and a clock tower that dominates the skyline. Although some of the houses have fallen into partial disrepair, they remain beloved landmarks and are regularly featured in cultural festivals and heritage tours. They also make for fantastic Instagram material, with their ornate balconies, pastel colors, and tropical gardens. Together, the Magnificent Seven serve as architectural symbols of Trinidad's layered identity, part colonial legacy, part Caribbean charm, and fully unforgettable. It has one of the highest crime rates in the world. Despite its paradise-like setting, Trinidad and Tobago struggles with one of the highest crime rates in the Caribbean region. Violent crime, including murders, gang violence, and drug-related shootings, is especially prevalent in certain urban areas like parts of Port of Spain and Laventille. The country's location along key narcotics trafficking routes has made it vulnerable to organized crime and drug smuggling, contributing heavily to social instability. While tourism zones tend to be safer, petty crimes like theft, scams, and credit card fraud are still common and require caution. Armed robberies, especially targeting foreigners who appear wealthy or careless, have been reported near ATMs, in taxis, and even in hotels. The government has implemented crime reduction programs and increased police presence, but corruption and underfunding often limit their effectiveness. Travel advisories from countries like the US, UK, and Canada frequently urge caution, particularly at night and outside well-monitored tourist areas. Locals generally advise visitors to avoid traveling alone, to stick to known routes, and to use official taxis or transport apps. Despite the challenges, many travelers still report positive experiences, especially when taking basic safety precautions. Trinidad and Tobago is a country of contrasts. Its warmth and culture shine brightly, but safety requires awareness and smart choices. Their most expensive rum costs $25,000 per bottle. Trinidad and Tobago is not only known for steel pan music and carnival, it also produces some of the world's most exclusive rum. The crown jewel is Angostura Legacy Rum, a rare luxury spirit that sells for an eye-watering $25,000 per bottle. Crafted by master blenders at House of Angostura, it was released in an ultra-limited edition of only 20 bottles worldwide. This premium rum is aged using select blends stored for up to 17 years, resulting in an extraordinarily rich and complex flavor profile. It's presented in a handcrafted crystal decanter inside a polished wooden box, turning it into a true collector's item. Angostura, already famous for its bitters, has long been a heavyweight in Caribbean rum production. But this release pushed the brand into the realm of elite spirits. Unlike mass-produced rums, this one isn't meant to be mixed with cola or fruit juice. It's designed to be sipped slowly, like a fine cognac. Collectors and connoisseurs from around the world snapped it up, and it quickly became a legend in the high-end liquor market. Its value goes beyond taste. It's a symbol of national craftsmanship, prestige, and rarity. In a land where culture and indulgence collide, Angostura Legacy represents Trinidad's ability to compete on a global luxury stage. A native fruit is used for tattoo ink, medicine, and dessert. Among the many unique plants native to Trinidad and Tobago is a fascinating fruit called agua, also known locally as jagua. This tropical fruit is incredibly versatile. It's used as a natural tattoo ink, an insect repellent, a mild antibiotic, and even a sweet treat. When ripe, its flesh has a texture and flavor similar to dried apple or pear, making it a popular ingredient in traditional desserts and juices. However, when unripe, the juice from its skin stains the skin dark blue to black, much like henna, and is used in indigenous body art. Many tribal communities across Latin America and the Caribbean have used it for temporary ceremonial tattoos for centuries. The ink lasts around 2 weeks, fading naturally as the skin exfoliates, making it a safe alternative to chemical dyes. Locals also use the juice in folk medicine for its anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties, especially for treating cuts and skin irritations. It's even believed to help repel mosquitoes thanks to its bitter compounds and scent. Few fruits in the world are this multifunctional: edible, medicinal, artistic, and practical all at once. In a country where tradition meets creativity, the agua fruit is a perfect symbol of natural innovation. One of the world's hottest peppers grows here. If you think you can handle spicy food, Trinidad's Moruga scorpion pepper might change your mind. This fiery chili was officially crowned the world's hottest pepper in 2012 by the New Mexico State University's Chili Pepper Institute. It clocked in at a mind-blowing 2 million Scoville heat units, SHU. That's over 400 times hotter than a jalapeno. The Moruga scorpion originates in the small village of Moruga, Trinidad, where the humid climate and rich soil create perfect growing conditions for intense heat. Despite its searing burn, it has a surprisingly fruity, citrus-like flavor, making it popular among hot sauce producers and chili enthusiasts. The heat builds slowly, lulling unsuspecting eaters before exploding into a full-body firestorm. Handle with gloves, and definitely don't touch your eyes. Since 2012, other peppers like the Carolina Reaper have surpassed it on the heat scale, but the Moruga scorpion still ranks comfortably in the top 5 worldwide. Locals use it sparingly in sauces, stews, and even medicinal tonics, though most tourists are wise to keep their distance. Farmers take great pride in cultivating it, and it's considered a national treasure among chili growers. So if you're ever in Trinidad and feeling brave, just remember, one bite is enough to bring tears to a grown man's face. They invented goat racing. Yes, you read that right. Goat racing is a real sport in Trinidad and Tobago, and they proudly claim to have invented it. The quirky tradition began over a century ago in the small village of Buku, located on the island of Tobago. What started as a light-hearted local pastime has evolved into a nationally celebrated event, drawing crowds of locals and tourists alike. Each year during the Buku Goat and Crab Race Festival, jockeys race alongside their goats on foot, guiding them with a 9-foot leash and a small whip. The sport is so beloved that it's practically treated as an unofficial public holiday, complete with music, food, and street celebrations. Winning goats are rewarded with snacks and fame, while jockeys receive prize money and community bragging rights. It may sound absurd, but the event is a major boost for local tourism and small business, putting Tobago on the map for something uniquely its own. The goats are even trained in advance. Some locals raise and condition them like racehorses. The festival's charm lies in its mix of humor, athleticism, and island pride, making it a cultural highlight of the Tobago calendar. In a region filled with carnival floats and cricket games, goat racing proves that Trinidad and Tobago knows how to stand out in the most unexpected ways. The first Black Miss Universe was from Trinidad and Tobago. In 1977, the global beauty pageant world was changed forever when Janelle Commission, representing Trinidad and Tobago, became the first Black woman to win the Miss Universe title. At a time when international beauty standards were still deeply Eurocentric, her victory sent a powerful message about diversity, representation, and cultural pride. Born in Port of Spain, Janelle moved to the United States as a teenager, studied fashion design in New York, and returned home just in time to make history. Her win wasn't just a crown for herself, it was a milestone for Black women around the world who finally saw someone who looked like them on a global stage. She carried herself with elegance, confidence, and intelligence, breaking stereotypes and opening doors in an industry that had long excluded women of color. Trinidad and Tobago embraced her as a national icon, and her victory remains one of the country's proudest cultural achievements. She later served in diplomatic and public service roles, continuing to inspire through her work beyond the pageant world. To this day, her face and story are featured in Trinidadian museums, schools, and cultural celebrations. She paved the way for future generations, showing that beauty and leadership know no racial boundaries. In a small island nation, Janelle Commission proved that even the boldest global change can begin somewhere unexpected. Trinidad and Tobago may not always make international headlines, but as you've seen, it's a place packed with unexpected stories, bold culture, and rare treasures. From glowing waters and billion-dollar businesswomen to forbidden fashion and goat races, these twin islands are anything but ordinary. They prove that a country doesn't need size or fame to be unforgettable. It just needs soul. So whether you're planning a visit, chasing wild facts, or just expanding your worldview, Trinidad and Tobago deserves a spot on your radar. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Because every Tuesday we take you somewhere new. Thanks for watching Andy Explores the World, and see you next week for another journey into the unexpected.